Hi students, my name is Melanie Basham and this is the course introduction video to English 102. I'm really excited about this course. I love teaching 102. I love looking at how what we read can affect how we think about life. And so I hope that even if maybe traditionally English has not been a favorite subject of yours, that you can still enjoy the course and hopefully learn a lot. So if you've made it to this orientation video, that means that you have already logged onto Blackboard, you found our Blackboard shell, and you have gone to the Start Here page to see the video. So let's go back to that Start Here page and talk through a few of the areas there. So let me go over here to my Blackboard shell, make sure I've clicked on Start Here. Okay. So you will see at the top of that page a little area that says that this course is QM certified. So QM stands for Quality Matters, and you can read there what that means. But Calhoun has made an effort to make sure that its online courses meet certain standards. And if you have taken the online courses before at Calhoun, you might notice differences in your courses this semester. So a lot of the way we were asked to structure and organize our courses is different. But the good news is, even if it's different from what you're used to, hopefully all the online courses you take will now be more similar to each other. So in the long run, hopefully that will help you guys be able to navigate the courses more easily. So you can read more about that if you'd like. There's a link there to visit, but that's what that is. So let's look underneath that, and it says Get Started Here. So this kind of orients you to the way that the course is structured. So I want to take you through these areas as well. Okay, so the first area you see listed there is announcements. So the announcements page is where you're going to land when you log in. So when you open up this course, announcements is where you're going to automatically be. That's kind of our home page for the course. So announcements is just that. Anytime I need to announce something to the entire class, whether it's a change in an assignment, or to let you guys remind you of a due date, or to let you know that I'm finished grading something, you will find it there. Announcements, you should be in the habit of checking daily. And also, you should be in the habit of checking your Calhoun email, and we'll get into that in just a minute. Okay, so the next area is course content. If you will go to the top left of your Blackboard shell, you will see a menu option that says course content. Go ahead and click on that for me. So the course content area is where I have put all the materials that you would be used to having if you came to a traditional course. Okay, so you can see once you click on course content that I have divided this course into 3 units. The first unit is fiction, the second unit is poetry, and the third unit is drama. So the first unit, that's where we'll start. Click on Unit 1, Fiction. And then that's going to open up all the weeks for our fiction unit. So you'll see there's folders for weeks 1 through 7. Excuse me. And with each one of those weeks, you will see an associated date range. Okay, so that tells you how much time you have, basically, to get all that stuff done that's within that folder. So the first week of class, which is what you're in right now, you will click on week 1. Okay, and that'll open up. And kind of what we're going through here, what you're seeing, this is the way all of our weeks are organized. They should all look the same. So the very first thing you'll see is your week overview. So I kind of let you know what we're going to be doing this week and what the purpose is. And then underneath that, you will always see your learning objectives. So your learning objectives tell you, by the end of the week, what you should be able to do, what we will have worked on. And those all line up to our course objectives, and those can be found in our syllabus, and we'll look at that in a minute. So kind of the organization of the course, and this is a big point with Quality Matters, is that everything you do in the course needs to build toward the course objectives. So every week you'll see for that week what our objectives are, okay? So underneath that you will see a list of tasks that you need to complete for the week, okay? So all of these tasks need to be done using certain materials, and those materials are always posted underneath that task area within your module. So if you'll look underneath where it says tasks, for example, it says that you're supposed to review the course syllabus. Well, look down on that module. You'll see course syllabus. You can click and open it and read it there. You'll see that you're supposed to make a post to the discussion board. You'll see a link to the discussion board. you'll see that you're supposed to take a quiz, a course intro quiz. The quiz is going to cover your syllabus and cover this video. So you will see a link to the quiz there, okay? So this is how every week in this course will go. You will open that week's folder. You will read what's inside that folder and complete the tasks. And what you need to complete the tasks is just right there. So that's how it should work every single week. You'll also notice that in the tasks listing, I'll give you deadlines for each of those things that are due. So pay attention to those. Okay, so that is our course content area. So go click on Start Here again. Let's go back to that list that we're trying to make it through. Okay, so we talked about announcements. We talked about course content. And the next one is the discussion board. Okay, so don't think of the discussion board as another area to keep track of in the course, because the only times you will need to post to the discussion board will be when you are told to in your task list. So you don't have to go click on discussion board and check it all the time. Just make sure that you complete for each week what's listed in the tasks, and you'll complete the discussions when you need to. But just for the sake of showing you what that looks like, in the top left, go ahead and click on discussion board. So that's just underneath course content. All right, and that'll open up, and you'll see two options. One says Welcome to our discussion. The other says Discussion Board Rubric. So every assignment you have in this course has a rubric. That just means it's a method of showing you how I grade. So what's the point breakdown? Okay, so you can click there and read that. But what I want you to click right now is Welcome to our class discussion. Okay, when you click that, our discussion board forums open up. So what you'll see there is a list, week 1, week 2, week 3, and so on. You do not have a discussion board post for every single week of the course, but you often have them. So you might go for 5 weeks in a row with a post and then skip. So just make sure that you're reading those tasks in your course content area, and you'll never miss one, because I always tell you there when one is due. Okay? So you can see, let's look at week 1 post. So if you noticed in the course content section, you already read that you were supposed to create a discussion board post. And here you'll see what the assignment is, and then I've given you some reminders and told you how to get started, and I've told you your due date. That is the pattern for every discussion board post. You're told what it is you need to do, how you need to do it, and when it's due. Okay? So let's click on week 1 post, and that'll open up in a minute. Maybe you guys don't have computers that are running a little bit slowly right now. Blackboard is struggling. Okay, so when you click on week 1 post, you'll see an option for Create Thread. You're going to click Create Thread, and then you're just going to follow the directions that you saw on the previous page. Right? So that is how every single discussion board post will work. All right. Let's scroll on down to the very bottom of the discussion board page. So you'll see that there's a due date for every post except the last one. So the last forum I've created is just a place, it's optional for you. It's just a place where when we get to our drama essay, you can ask questions to each other, questions to me, kind of what does this particular part of the story mean? Or I wasn't clear on this aspect of the assignment. So that is the one forum on the discussion board that's optional. It's not going to be graded. So you don't have to worry about it. It's just a place where you have a chance to interact with each other if you would find that useful. Okay, let's go back to the Start Here button. All right, so course syllabus is our next item on that Get Started Here list. Let's skip that for a minute. Then you'll see underneath that essay requirements and rubrics. So there's a menu option under course material that says essay requirements and rubrics. It's on the top left of Blackboard. That is just where I have posted for each separate writing assignment in the course. I've posted there what the requirements are and also a rubric telling you how I will grade that assignment. Again, like the discussion board, even though this area exists, you never have to go there independently. What I mean by that is, if there is a writing assignment due for a given week, then within that week's course content, under the task list, you will see the requirements posted. You'll see the rubric posted. So you don't have to worry about going here, but that's just what that area is. Then there's also a sample essay area, same thing. So when you have a writing assignment coming up, I will post within that course content section under your task list, I will post a sample of that assignment, and it will be written by a former student. So you can kind of see, what an example of that would look like. Okay, the submission area, again, it is a separate menu item on Blackboard, but you never have to go there separately. You can, but whenever it's time for you to submit an assignment for that week, you will see that it's posted there. And let me just give you an example of that really quickly. So go click on course content. And then let's click on Unit 3. All right, so we're going to look at how you guys will submit your final exam, which is an essay. So if you'll click on Week 16, so you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. So Week 16, you'll see the week overview, what you've seen before. So you've got a description, the learning objectives, and the tasks. One of the tasks says, submit your final essay no later than 11 p.m. on Sunday, December the 11th. So look underneath that, and you'll see an option for Submit Drama Essay here. Let's click on that. Okay, so when you click on that, you have the option to view the rubric if you would like to, so you can see how I'll be grading this assignment. Just as a side note, you will already have seen this rubric in weeks leading up to this assignment. And then you have a place where you can attach your essay. So you see where it says Browse My Computer, you're just uploading the file, and you click Submit, and then you'll be told that your submission was successful. So that is how you submit writing assignments in the course. So you could click on Submission Area and get to the same spot, but just know that to make it easier on you, I have gone ahead and put those links right there in the week where I tell you it's due, so you don't have to fish around for it. Okay, let's go back to the Start Here button again. We're almost through the list. Okay, My Grades. It's going to be your favorite area. So the My Grades option is really self-explanatory. You click on that menu option, and it takes you to your online gradebook for this class. So if you ever see a problem there, just let me know. Sometimes I just punch in a number incorrectly, or I might get my lines crossed up when I'm looking at the page. So if you ever see a problem, let me know, and I can fix that for you. All right, and then Calhoun email. That is what you will click if you need to send me an email. And you don't, it helps you because you don't have to go to a bunch of separate spots. We used to have to come out of Blackboard and go into a different portal to send Calhoun email. Now you can just do it right there, so that makes it really handy. Okay, so now I want you to scroll down, and you will see ENG 102-W10 syllabus. I want you to click on that. We skipped the syllabus, and that's how I'd like to spend the rest of our time, is just going through the syllabus really quickly. So the first thing you'll see at the top of your syllabus is information about how to get in touch with me. So I want you to know that although I do not have an office on campus, I teach courses exclusively online. I try to make myself as available to you as I can. I have 2 little girls. One is about to be 3 in a few weeks, and the other is about to be 1.5 in a few weeks. They're about a year and a half apart. So when I say as available to you as I can be, if you ever call me or text me and I don't respond right away, 90% of the time it's because I'm caught up with them doing something. But I don't want that. I don't want you to feel like you're bothering me. You're not bothering me. If you try to get in touch with me, if you text me, and I've given you my cell phone number here, and I don't text you right back, I will respond. And don't feel like if it takes me a little while that I'm annoyed with you. I'm not. So please call me. Please text me. Email is a great way to get in touch with me if you don't need to know an answer right away. But of course, if you have an emergency or something that's just too complicated sometimes to send through an email, call me. It's not a problem at all. And then if we ever do need to meet in person, let me know that, and we can try to work that out. This course is English 102. The prerequisite is English 101. If you did not pass 101 with a C or higher, let me know as soon as you can, so that we can see what we can do about that. Okay, so here's where you'll see next the course objectives listed. So there are 3 course objectives. One is to read, analyze, discuss, research, and write about literary works in order to learn how to think more critically. So there's the bulk of our course. So in 101, you might have done some reading and some writing, but really your focus was mostly on the writing part of it. In this class, what makes this class different from 101 is that I assume, because you passed 101, that you know how to write a traditional 5-paragraph essay. And so we're not going to spend time talking about, what is a thesis? How do we write a good paragraph? I assume you know that, and I do point you to resources along the way to help remind you of those things. But we're really starting from a place where we can read a work of literature and think about it, mull it over, and then write in such a way that we can show that we are analyzing that text. So the shortest way I know how to describe analysis is you're not telling me the who and the what of the story, you're telling me the how and the why. So you're not telling me who the main characters were, right? You're telling me how the main characters worked in that story to advance the plot, for example. And we'll get into this more, but analysis is a very specific skill, and that's really what this class is all about. Okay. Number 2, present arguments persuasively. So that is what an essay does, right? Even the ones you wrote in 101. Your thesis makes a claim, your paper supports that claim. So think about your claim as being your argument, and the rest of your paper being the supporting arguments to that main argument, okay, or that claim. And then write effectively in standard English. So again, the fact that you're in this course presumes that you have command of major points of grammar. We will review some of that, but this is not a grammar course. So if you feel uncomfortable at this stage with writing a 5-paragraph essay with your command of the English language, then let me know that up front, and I can point you to some resources to help you. And your writer's reference textbook is one of those great resources. That way you don't get too far behind. Okay? So go ahead and look at your list there of textbooks. You have 2 textbooks you need to purchase. One is Perrine's Literature, Structure, Sound, and Sense, and that's the 12th edition. And then also the Hacker Book is what I call it. Writer's Reference is your Hacker Book, the 8th edition. It is somewhat important that you purchase these editions because I'm always referring to page numbers, and that could get very confusing for you if you don't have the right editions. So you're welcome to buy a used book, but make sure that the used book you're buying is the correct edition, because if it's not, the page numbers may not match up, and I think that could get pretty frustrating. And then course support materials. So you need to have reliable computer, email, and internet access. So I have made a little note here that, if you cannot provide those things for this course, you do not need to take an online course. And let me explain myself. Let's say you live in a rural area like where I grew up, okay? I grew up in Somerville in Morgan County. And I think until my dad sold his house last week, and I think until then, they may have just gotten high-speed internet maybe 6 months ago. And I say that because, it doesn't mean that you don't live in a nice place, but if you don't have consistent access to good high-speed internet, it's going to be really difficult to complete this course. It's going to take you a lot longer than it should to complete assignments. When you log on to take a quiz, you might have technical issues, and you just really don't want to put yourself through that. So right now, be thinking about ways to solve that problem. Can you schedule chunks of time at a local library, at a relative's house, on campus, in the computer labs on campus? So it's not to say that you have to have the world's best computer at your home to complete the course, but you do need to make sure that you have reliable chunks of time with reliable equipment. Okay, I've given you a phone number there and an email address if you have issues with Blackboard, technical issues. And you can always call me or email me about technical issues after you have talked to them first. So I'm not your first line of defense with that. The help desk is, okay? So you can read for yourself there about technical computer requirements. Also about our writing center, it's a great place on both campuses where you can go for help, and their phone number is there as well. Their hours change each semester, so if you want to go there, just check in first and see when they're open. Okay, so let's talk about the class. So this is an online class, so how do I teach this course? Well, I teach it a lot like an in-person class, so if you were to come to my class on campus, and I used to teach on campus, I would give you PowerPoint presentations, right? So you would see the slides and take notes, hopefully, and you would also be listening to me speak. So the way this course is organized, some of my notes, I've gone back in and made them much more detailed because you're missing audio, of me explaining it. But then there will also be times where you'll have notes as well as a video of me explaining something. And that will just vary. So you'll have PowerPoint presentations, you'll have videos, you'll also have those discussions on Blackboard, and that's really the place where you guys get to have that interactive discussion like you would if you came to a class. And in this class, since it focuses on literature, it's very important that you participate in those. It really enhances your understanding of the material in a way that you can't otherwise. You're going to have tests and quizzes, and you're also going to get feedback on your writing. So discussion board feedback, feedback on essays. So you're going to be completing the same kinds of tasks that you would for a traditional class, but just in a slightly different format. Okay. The next note there is cheating and plagiarism. I'll just make this brief point and we can move on. If you cheat or if you plagiarize in this course, I will seek a failing grade for you in the course. If you cheat on any assignment, you will not only get a 0 for that assignment, but I will assign you an F for the course. I do not tolerate cheating. There is never a good enough excuse for cheating. Just don't do it. Okay. The next line there is online etiquette. Some people call that netiquette. So when you are interacting in an online class, sometimes people feel like, I don't know you personally. I can't see your face. Other students can't see who you are either. And some people have that, freedom. They feel free to maybe say things that are disrespectful or inappropriate. That is not okay in this course. And if that kind of thing happens, I will let you know privately that you have to stop that behavior. And if the behavior doesn't stop, I will seek to have you removed from the course. So just treat other people like you want to be treated, right? The golden rule. So that pretty much covers all that you need to know about netiquette. Okay, let's go on down to our grading plan. So where does your grade come from in this class? I've broken it down for you. You have close readings. We'll talk about what all these are in a second. But you have close readings, a fiction essay, a poetry essay, your drama essay. So all those 4 categories are writing assignments. Okay? Then you have quizzes, and then your discussion assignments, which is the discussion board. So each of those comprises a percent, and all that together makes 100% for the total amount of points you can get in the class. So you will notice, for example, your quizzes are 30%. You have lots of quizzes throughout the semester, and I average all those together to come up with that grade. Close readings. You have 3 close readings in the poetry unit. I average those together to come up with the grade for close readings. Same thing for your discussion. I average all your grades together from the discussion board, and that number is 20% of your grade. Okay? So my grade scale, you've seen, it's traditional. It's what you're used to, I'm sure. And then your course assignments. So this area just breaks down what each assignment is specifically. And again, this syllabus is for your reference, but every time you have an assignment, don't worry. When you go to that week in Blackboard, I will specifically explain to you what that week's tasks are, give you the materials you need to have to complete that. So don't get too stressed out about it. So your essay assignments, each essay assignment will be introduced in a lecture that's posted to Blackboard. Your fiction and poetry essays will each be 500 words long, and then your drama essay will be twice as long as that. All of your writing assignments are going to follow MLA format. Those are the ones that you type on the computer and send to me, right? So your discussion board doesn't follow MLA format because it's just you type in a paragraph or 2. But all of the assignments that you compose on the computer and save and send to me, they all have to follow MLA format. Okay? Essay expectations, you can see specifically where I showed you that essay requirements and rubric section, you can see specifically for each essay what I expect. Close reading. So a close reading is where you take, in our case, we're going to take a poem. Right, so we have 3 poems we're going to look at. So the first close reading, you'll look at 1 poem, and you're going to pull out 5 little specific chunks of that poem. It could be a word, a phrase, a line that you're going to look at more closely. That's why it's called a close reading. You really look specifically at that small portion of your reading, and you're going to let me know some things about that. And again, when we get there, you'll have specifics that tell you what I'm expecting and how to complete that assignment. Quizzes, you'll be completing quizzes that give you a chance to show what you've learned from the lecture notes and from your readings. And every time you have a quiz, it will be posted in that week. So under the tasks, you'll see a place to go and take that quiz. And you'll take the quiz on Blackboard. And then when you're finished, you'll submit it, and you can automatically see your grade. There is one quiz that has a short answer section, so you'll be able to see everything but that, and I'll have to go in and manually grade that. But most times when you take a quiz in the course, as soon as you submit it, you can see how you did. Okay? Discussion assignments, we've already looked at that. So in the discussion board section, you'll see the different forums for the different weeks of the course. You'll go there, follow the assignment instructions, and typically your discussion board posts are in 2 parts. The first part is you posting something, and the second part is you responding to another student's post. And again, all the instructions are there, so don't worry about that. And then the discussion expectations. So what I expect that you do is that you fully address the prompt you're given, that you follow standard conventions for English, right, good grammar, and that you make, 8 to 10 sentences. I really want you to say a good amount. I want you to really fulfill the prompt. Don't write the bare minimum. Go into details and give me specific information from, most times it's from our readings, to support what you're having to say. Okay? Again, you can see a rubric for all your discussion board posts if you'd like to see that in our rubric section. Okay, so when you're ready to submit your assignments, like I said, for the quizzes, you just take them online, submit, and you're good. For our discussion board posts, you write your post, you post it, and you should see that you're good, and there's specific instructions there. So that's your quizzes, discussion board, assignments. Essays, you go to the submission areas like I showed you, you upload it, you submit it. You should have a bar that says you're successful and you're good. So everything you're going to be submitting to me, you submit that through Blackboard. Okay? So you're never plan to email me anything. It's all going to be housed there on Blackboard. And every time something's due, I will put that submission button there for you, so you don't have to go hunting for it. Extra credit. I started to put this in here. I don't usually put an item about extra credit, but I often have students ask me to have something for extra credit. So normally it's the last week or 2 of the course, and I have a student who's not doing well. And so here's my policy, just so that you all know. If you have completed every single assignment in the course, right? So that means if I asked you to write a 500-word essay, you wrote a 500-word essay. If I asked you to complete 2 parts to a post, you completed 2 parts. So if you fulfilled what I would call the minimum requirements of the course, then I will be happy to discuss with you a chance for extra credit. If you have not completed all of the assignments, or if you have technically turned in all the assignments, but some of those were incomplete, you will not be offered extra credit. So my philosophy is that extra implies that you've already done what was needed at the minimum level, right? You've met that threshold, and extra goes beyond that. So if you haven't met that minimum threshold, then you will not have an extra credit opportunity. So I will never post extra credit to Blackboard. That is something you will have to ask me for on an individual basis if you have met these criteria. Attendance policy, so we don't meet, in class for me to look at you and check you off a list. But I will assume that if you are completing your posts and your other tasks, that you are attending the course. Specifically for this first week, what you need to know is that taking the quiz and completing your discussion board posts, those constitute your attendance for the first week. And that really matters if you're on financial aid. because we have to submit attendance at the end of the first week. And a lot of times they will go through, and if you're not attending your courses, your financial aid will be denied. So make sure, for not just mine, but for all your classes, that you complete. You should have a week 1 assignment that you complete that. Okay? You can look, if you want to, at the course outline. So I've broken down for you for each unit and each week of the course what it is we're going to be looking at. This is not in stone, but I don't expect it to change either. So just, things in this course, I've already created everything you need to complete the entire course. But what I'm going to ask is that you stay with me, stay with the class. So for week 1, August 22nd through 28th, I really want you to complete that material, and then the next week, start week 2. The next week, start week 3. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't really want you to work ahead very much. The discussion posts are such an important part of you understanding what's going on in the class that if you work very far ahead, you're going to miss out on that feedback, on that interaction with your peers. So I really suggest that you don't do that. If you have, a vacation or some situation that you know is coming up later in the semester, and that's why you took an online course, you could go ahead and get ahead, just email me and let me know that, and we'll work something out, okay? But as a general rule, it would be great if you kind of stayed with the pacing of the class, okay? All right, let's scroll down to the bottom of all of that. And I'm just going to point out to you that your final exam in this class is your last essay. So underneath week 16, when you see that says drama essay due, that drama essay is your final exam. Okay? Just so we're all clear on that. All right, guys. Well, I can't really think of anything else that you need to know about the course, but I do want to tell you a little something about me before I let you go. And you can click, I have an About Miss Basham menu option in Blackboard if you want to click that. And you can see a relatively outdated picture of me holding that's my first daughter when she was, maybe 6 months old. So that picture is 2.5 years old. And then you see a more recent picture of my girls there. But I always, when I was in college or even in school, before that, I always like to feel like I know a little bit about the person who's teaching me, because I really think that, you can't help but for yourself to influence how you teach. And so I'll tell you this, I am not a bookworm. I never have been. I like to read when I have time, but it's not one of those things that I carve out huge chunks of time for. When I have a large chunk of time to spend doing something, I like to spend it with people, with talking and interacting. But I will say this, I feel like if you want to be a well-rounded person, you need to know about different things. And one great way to learn about different things is to read. I read a lot of nonfiction, actually. It's funny, I'm teaching a unit on fiction and on poetry and all that, and I've chosen some things for you that I personally really like to read. I've really enjoyed reading. But it's kind of like a treat for me to do that. I normally don't read that type of thing. I read a lot of religious literature, religious nonfiction books, but I just don't read a lot of fiction in my free time, what little free time I have. So, that's me. I'm not that English teacher that's going to, make you feel guilty if you don't love to read everything that we're reading. I get it. I was in your shoes, and I was asked to read certain things that, I would read them and think, this is awful. I did not like reading that. And I get it. That's okay. But what I do hope for you in this class is that you can learn how to look at what you read differently. So even if you don't love it, just enjoy it for the pleasure's sake alone, you can still look at it as an academic, right? So you can look at what the author did and how he did it and how he was trying to affect you when he did that. And that is a very important skill to have. It's election season right now, right, when I'm recording this video. And it's very important that you know how to process the information that people are throwing at you, and you know what to do with that, right? Because what we're going to look at this semester, when authors write things, they write them toward a purpose, right? They have a goal in mind. What is that goal? Is it to make you think a certain thing? Um, is it that they have a perspective on life that they think is the correct perspective or a valuable perspective, and they're trying to persuade you, maybe without you even realizing that they are, to agree with their perspective, to see it the same way they do? So I think all of us care about, our own opinions, our own integrity. And so reading is a great way to exercise that part of yourself. Read what other people think about things and then think to yourself, do I think that? Why is it that I do or don't agree with that? So that is the aspect, as a person who's not a bookworm, that is the aspect of English and the language arts that I love. I love looking at something and then mulling it over in my mind, analyzing it, discussing it with other people, getting their take on what they read, which is usually different from mine, and that's okay. And us just talking about that, because you would be a fool to think that things that are thrown at you don't shape who you are. What you read, what you watch on television, what you listen to on the radio, podcasts you might listen to, blogs you might read, those things that you take in are really shaping who you are. And so as an educated person, hopefully you can see how those things shape you, how they shape others. And honestly, you can start writing in such a way that you can shape others. And hopefully you'll use that power for good and not evil, right? Okay. So my education. I have an undergraduate degree from Auburn University, and that degree is in public relations. And then when I got that degree, I also had a minor in English. So what that allowed me to do, after I worked for a few years, I worked for a software company. After I did that, I went back to school, went to UAH to get my master's, and I got my master's in education and English. So ever since then, I've been teaching English at Calhoun, and I just love it. I love the diversity of the student body at Calhoun. I love that I can have an 18-year-old and an 80-year-old in my same class. And I love knowing that some of you, for you, education is a dream, right? It is something that no one in your family has ever gotten a college degree. I think a lot of us take that for granted. My parents had degrees, advanced degrees even. My grandparents did. All my cousins do. All my aunts and uncles do. But I love knowing that for some of you, you don't really know many people. You don't rub elbows with many people who have degrees, and you're doing that for yourself. And how courageous is that? How brave is that, right? To step outside of your known comfort zone and to do something like that. And that I can help you do that. I can help you to achieve that. I love it. Like, I have chill bumps right now thinking about it. So I really do want you to succeed. If I can help you in any way, please get in touch with me. I hope you'll find that I'm willing to help you. And I also hope you'll find that I'm fair, but I want you to know before we get very deep into the course that I expect you to work to accomplish your goals in the course. I guess that's all I have to say. I appreciate you watching this video. I hope you guys are having a great week. So don't forget to go back to that Start Here page, complete all those tasks you see there. Click on Week 1 in Course Content, right? Course Content, Unit 1, Week 1. Make sure you complete all of that. And then Week 1 will be in the books, and we'll move on to Week 2. I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a great day.